Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 280 of 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. And today it is a day that was inspired by one of our chemo buddies for life. As I've shared in the past, sometimes our chemo buddies for life will be highlighted. However, they may not be live, quote unquote, with us as the guest. However, I do believe that we have her with us today. Our service hero is actually Helene Wilson. Now, let me tell you about Helene. And more than a service hero today, she actually came up with today's theme. And that is we're going to go through some tips and some tricks and how to deal with cancer, both chemotherapy and radiation. This was her idea. Brilliant. Can we just say brilliant? So she's been feeding me all day long on my phone, and either by voice or by text or by messenger app, whatever. She's been giving me ideas about how I should go about sharing what it is we're going to be talking about. So with that said, welcome, Helene. I do believe she's here. However, until I hear from her live, uh, if you are there, Helene, please hashtag live and just let me know you are here. I do see that there's been some conversations taking place as I was getting things ready to go live. So Carol, who is one of our Chemo Buddy for Life ambassadors, thank you for participating. And Misty, she was, let's see, oh my gosh, you got her to go live. Yes, got her to go live in the way that it was her idea, Misty. It was her idea. And what she said is that she is so proud of herself. She's proud of herself. And Misty knows, because Misty is the one that suggested that she contact us at Chemo Buddies for Life. And she wanted to share what it is that she's been learning so that others can learn and not be afraid like she had been. But now she's feeling very empowered. In fact, she was telling me some very exciting things, and I'll let her share it when she comes live. Now, there is a chance that she may not be here for part of the time because she had something to do with her family. So, but I think these were happening before we went live. However, oh, it looks like she is here. Is that you, my dear? And we have Christopher Kaysen in the house. So glad you're here with us. And Misty, you know, I'm so proud of her too. Let's just go into this. I seriously so proud. This is Helene. Now, Helene is, oh, awesome. She is here. Wonderful. Okay, so we're doing this together. And just a little background on when I first started Chemo Buddies for Life, and then I started having shows. I let my chemo buddies know, number one, I would never use their name unless they gave me permission. Number two, of course, images completely out unless they ever wanted to have permission. Next, voice. If that was okay, then that's what we would go with. Then video, if that was okay, we would go with that too. So Helene today was like, you know, I really want to share some of the things that I'm learning. And I said, okay, how would you like to do that? She agreed to the show. So then I said, okay, let's do the show. And then it was a matter of, do you mind if I use your name? I'm okay with you using my name. Okay. What about your image? I'm okay with that too. She actually sent, I have this one and then I've got another. And then it was, well, how about voice or, come on. And she was like, you know what, let's do it this way. I'll be there. I'll be able to type things. If I can be there live, I will be. If not, I'll type afterwards and I'll be able to answer questions. I love it. I love the idea. So this was all Helene's idea from start to finish. So that's what we're doing. And just landed in Atlanta, literally stopped in the airport. Well, awesome. You know what, Misty? And I want to thank you, Misty, for supporting Helene, because it takes a whole team, and Misty is a part of our Chemo Buddies for Life team, and she has been supporting her, as well as some of our others, our ambassadors. One of them, Carol, and we've got a whole wonderful community. I love our community, and in fact, Christopher Kaysen actually volunteered in a way today. Even said that you'd like to be able to maybe come up with some ideas, and I've got some ideas. I've already put them into thought. So let's see, because we might even let's see who this might be. She wants me to call. Do you want me to call right now? Okay, well, I'm going to call, and if she wants to be talking with us, we can have her talking with us. So give me a moment here. This is called live streaming media, and it's hello. Do you mind us having you live on the show? Okay. Well, then I'm gonna make you live, and we'll see how this goes. So now, what you'll need to do, though, you'll need to turn down your volume, because it will come back. You'll hear me twice. Okay. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're just setting this up, and so that Helene can be a part of the program. Okay, no worries, no worries. So what I'm going to do while we're doing that is I'm going to talk about a few other things. Oh, we've got it. Okay, so if you have the volume down, then you'll be able to hear me, and then we'll be able to hear you through the phone, okay? All right. And I am. I'm just talking to everybody, and so that they know that I am still live here. Okay, you good? In just a moment, I'm sure we will be. Okay? All right. Okay, so we've got, all right, so anybody that's watching, I would love to be able to know once Helene starts speaking if you can hear her well. Okay, go ahead, Helene. Say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody.
And tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
I am dealing with cancer, and I am right now in the middle of doing radiation. And I can sing a little. I'm an artist, and I've written a book.
So you're a talented woman that is facing cancer, and you currently are experiencing radiation, and you have had chemotherapy, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you've had chemotherapy, and your type of cancer, do you mind telling them?
HER2 positive.
HER2 positive, that would be breast cancer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and that's the same that same kind I had. So that's one thing we have in common. And okay, awesome. Thank you, Carol. We have a sound check that they're hearing us well. This is working. All right. Now, you had this idea today, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it? What really you had shared with me, but I want you to share with everybody else. You were somewhere today, and something happened in the waiting room, and then all of a sudden you thought you wanted to share with people some information, right?
I had just come out of radiation after being in the waiting room with a lady that was not really positive about her treatment.
Yes, and not being positive about treatment, that can often translate in being scared or maybe uninformed or feeling alone, or we were kind of talking about all of it, right?
Yes, ma'am. And before I left, I just turned around and wished the three ladies that was sitting there, God bless you.
Oh, that was very kind.
Yes.
And then you told me that it has been helpful for you to have your team, which includes your family,
yes,
and then some of your new buddies, right?
Yes, ma'am. My two sisters have been supporting me through all my treatments, my surgery, and my radiation right now. My younger sister is driving me there a lot.
And how is it for them, do you think? Do they ever tell you how they're feeling?
I think they're more concerned about what I'm going through emotionally. Mm-hmm. And they are just being supportive through the whole thing.
Yeah. And that is something that I want to really highlight, that we understand that many that need a buddy, they do have family support and they have friends and they have a community. It's just that sometimes, and we've talked about this because we've had a few discussions, that sometimes just not coming from the same place, it makes it a bit different, right? When you can talk to someone that understands where you're coming from.
Yes, ma'am. Somebody that's not so close to you within your family, somebody that has either been a part of having the cancer and understand, like HER2 positive. I don't know much about it, so I'm learning from you.
And we've had quite a few really interesting discussions, haven't we? I mean, they've been almost where you feel like, okay, inspired and then tearful and then laughing like up a storm, right? I mean,
yes, ma'am.
All of the above, right?
Yes, it does help to laugh, and it is good to have that support. And it makes me feel good that I'm trying to do better, for not just for myself, but for others.
Right. So then, okay, so when you first came to us, you knew that you were going to have radiation. You'd already been through chemotherapy. You knew you were facing radiation. And how were you feeling about that at that time?
I had a lot of anxiety because I didn't want to go through it.
Right.
I didn't know if I could be in that room, that closed room, for however long it was. And I was terrified.
Yeah, you were, huh? And
yes.
And we ended up talking about that a lot, trying to really kind of like find our way through it. And I know you were visiting with Carol, you were visiting with Misty also. And so then last week was towards the end of the week, it was, oh wow, okay, now you needed to face some stuff, right?
Yes, I had to go ahead and make that decision to go ahead and do it.
And do you want to share what your thought process with that was?
I didn't want to do it mainly because I knew I had anxiety issues, and I knew that I needed to figure out how to get around it. I had two sisters that were really trying to get me to do it, and then my older sister encouraged the situation. Mm-hmm. And I realized that sooner or later I was going to have to just do it. I'd have to face my fear. And I did. And I'm doing that now.
And you are stepping so out of your comfort zone in multiple different ways, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am, I sure am.
You are. And yet this was your idea for today's show, right?
Yes, ma'am. I thought it would be great for people to understand what it was like to go through trying to make a decision about going through radiation or chemo.
Uh-huh. Right. And so now, as you are here and you're sharing with everybody, when you were first diagnosed, and if you want to catch us up to before you had chemotherapy, what did you feel then? What was your thought process?
Me and my sister both had to go to do our mammograms together. Mm-hmm. We were called back to go back and do a biopsy. And on our way out, I prayed to the Lord, let me be the one that had the cancer. And my prayer was answered on the 15th of November when my sister came home and announced that she had some good news and bad news. And I looked at her and I said, I guess I got cancer and you don't. And then everything just started falling in place.
And why did you pray that prayer?
Because I didn't want my sister to go through anymore. She'd been through a lot in her health issues. And I just wanted to spare her of her going through the agony of all that I'm going through. And right now I'm dealing with it.
Right. So you were willing to be that service hero inside. You were willing to be your sister's hero and say, you know what, let her be okay. I'm willing to take it. I'm willing to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you first sat the first day of chemotherapy, because that's always a very interesting first experience, were you relieved it was you in that chair?
Yes. I could not see her being there. I knew that I could be a lot more stronger and doing the treatments than with all the health issues she already had. And I knew I one day would have to do radiation, and I would have to build up to that point to do it.
So
go ahead.
I was just going to ask. So how much time between chemotherapy and radiation has there been?
I have had 12 weeks of chemo. There was a period of about a couple of weeks in February they had to stop because my heart had some problems. And then I started back up, and on June the 22nd was my last chemo day.
And for anybody that's watching this, since both Helene and I have, and I've been very vocal, and not everybody is, and this is something that we choose to be, is open with our diagnosis, and that since the two of us have a particular marker, the DNA of our cancer cells have what they call HER2 positive. That means we were lucky enough to have a certain newer immunotherapies that were developed not long ago and FDA approved, and has actually changed the outcome for our type of breast cancer. Yet it is still difficult on our hearts. And so that is something that they watch for all of our lives, is that we end up becoming very good friends with our cardiologists and their staff, because we get to visit with them quite often. And they monitor us really closely in regards to our hearts. So, that's a good news that you were able to continue through, meaning that you were strong enough. And now you have accomplished how many days of radiation?
I have managed to get through 3 of them. Today was my 3rd day.
That is, I mean, okay, I'm going to put the phone down and I'm going to do this. And I'm sure many others are, woo, woo, let's do some high fives and, good job. Because this was something that you were about ready to say, no, thank you, right?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. I didn't think I had it in me to do it.
And what has changed that?
Listening to Missy write and listen to you talk to me about your cancer, and listening to my sister keep reminding me I needed to do it, and I finally decided to do it.
You know what? I'm seeing congratulations from Carol, and yes, congratulations, because this is huge. So now let's get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing, because it's your idea, and you wanted to really start talking about some tips and some tricks that you are finding are truly important, things that maybe we in common sense may think, oh, that's, we know this stuff, but in truth, it can make a very big difference in how you're feeling, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't you start telling us about some of the things that you were telling me?
Oh, God, I can't remember.
That's all right. I've got them. All right. I just wanted to give you an opportunity, but you were saying, and I even have, I pulled a few graphics. You were saying that being willing to hydrate and drink plenty of water is a very important thing, right?
Yes, ma'am. I drink a lot of water. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
I drink a lot of water, about 5 bottles of water and a Gatorade. And sometimes I have to drink some caffeine to keep my blood pressure up.
Okay. All right. So they monitor all of that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. And then you were saying something that's very important, and then I'm going to just use this along with it, is that resting is really critical, right?
Yes, ma'am. I try to get as much sleep as I can. Right now, I'm sleeping in a lazy boy because I had my port taken out last week. And so I'm trying to be comfortable sleeping in it until I go back and see the doctor for the port that was taken out that was sewed up. So I can't roll over on either one of my side.
Uh-huh. Well,
so I sleep in the chair.
So I have an image here, and it's really a kind of like chemotherapy chair kind of idea with the hydration of the water. However, you and I had talked about that, and I want to confer that some of the other buddies that I visit with and that have buddies and such, they have told me also that, and one in particular said that she was having such a hard time with sleeping that she had heard about this idea and sent her husband out that day because she was just frantically so exhausted that she was willing to do just about anything that she could to try to break the exhaustion. And when she got her chair, it was like night and day. She was able to sleep. She was able to sleep comfortably. She was able to start then do some of the healing that takes place when we're sleeping.
Yes, ma'am. I leave the TV on sometimes. Before I go to bed, I listen to a lot of music, jazz, anything that will relax me enough to lay down and go to sleep.
And we love that. In fact, we call that healing through music.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. All right. And then you were also talking about, and I don't have any images for this, but you were saying that what you have noticed is that since before you were diagnosed with cancer, and now as of today, that many of your food choices and what you can and cannot tolerate or even crave have changed. Do you want to explain that?
I used to enjoy eating a lot of spicy foods. I like to have lemon water. Some of that I can't drink. Today I had tea. The tea didn't taste right, so I got a lot of lemons and squeezed it into the tea so I could drink it. The water tastes really bad. My food intake tastes terrible. So you might like one thing, and then you have to find out you have to eat something totally different. Mm-hmm. My grocery bill was kind of weird because I bought things home I was never used to eating, and now I'm learning to eat it. I don't eat bread anymore much, and when I do, I have to be careful.
Oh, okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that I was going to grab it, but I didn't. There's actually some cookbooks that have been developed. I've got a few of them that have been written by, one was written by an oncologist with someone from, I think, Better Homes and Garden. And they put together a cookbook of simple recipes that they found with, if you were having this side effect, then that particular recipe may work for it. Then there's other cookbooks that some of the cancer patients have actually produced that they talk about, well, for example, spicy foods, that's not an uncommon thing. I'm from Southern California, and what's the most popular food we have around here?
Seafood.
Yeah, we have a lot of Spanish, Mexican type food with salsas and peppers, jalapenos and habaneros, and the joke around my house is ketchup is too spicy for me.
Oh, I love ketchup.
I don't. but and some of it, and this is where we're being really open with tips and tricks, guys. And that is that with me, when I was going through mine, and I have now been, my first day of chemotherapy was on December the 10th, 2014. So you can do the math. And that still, the interior walls of my mouth and my throat, because I had chemo sores that went down into my throat and were in my mouth, they're still very sensitive areas. And so I now have just adjusted my diet, and you know what? I actually eat much healthier, I believe, because I really think about eating cleaner with not as many spices and such. And that's a healthy way to eat.
Yes, I had to change my diet also.
Uh-huh.
And I had some sores in my upper part of my mouth where I don't have any teeth right now because I was in the middle of getting ready to have some more teeth pulled. And so I had to be careful. So I was rinsing with salt and baking soda to rinse out my mouth. Yeah, it makes a difference.
It does. And in fact, yes. Do you mind sharing, because you actually found your cancer because of
I didn't find it. I just happened to go to get a mammogram, and they found it for me.
Okay.
It was so far down inside the breast, I didn't feel it.
Okay. All right. And I was asking because didn't you say that because of the fact you were having the mouth work done, because this is important for people to understand. I have somewhere I'm going with this, is that since you were having the work done on your mouth, that they wanted to make sure that your health was good, right?
Yes, I was in the middle of the process of having some teeth pulled, and my doctor decided it was time for me to have another mammogram. Right. Because I hadn't had one in a while. We went and did a mammogram, and they discovered it. And they checked it twice. We went back again and did another mammogram, and then on the same day we did a biopsy. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized I had cancer.
And so the reason I'm bringing this up right now is, again, tips and tricks. A tip is that you may not understand how much our mouth is really truly tied to our general health, and how when you have go to the dentist and you have some kind of a checkup and they ask you about your health history, you may not think, oh, well, it's not that important. Or if you have a microvalve prolapse like I do, and you need to take your antibiotics, and you sometimes forget like I do, sometimes that your people are there for you and say, okay, well, then you need to do this before we do anything. Take your antibiotics, because our general health actually speaks loudly in our mouth, meaning that they oftentimes can know if there's something else going on, maybe even before we do and our other doctors do. So it's really, really important. And if you are going through testing, if at all possible, or you're about to go start treatment, if anybody's watching this and you haven't started treatment yet, talk to your oncologist, of course. But if you can get into your dentist for a dentist cleaning or a dental cleaning beforehand, that's what I did. And that was actually, I don't know that I would have thought about it, but it was brought up in my checklist of things to do. And I went through like a Girl Scout, all my checklists. Yes, 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 yes. I had plenty of things that I ended up doing. And I'm more than happy to share, any of the resources that I had. And I'm sure that, we'll put together a list of things. So, all right. So you decided all of this. You decided to go get the mammogram. You prayed that your sister wouldn't end up with cancer, and that you would take that burden. And
yes, ma'am.
You are currently on your first week of how many weeks of radiation?
I have 4 weeks to do, Monday through Friday, and I'm on my first week of radiation.
So you're over the hump day of your first week.
Yes, ma'am. I've got 2 more days to go.
And you're pretty proud of yourself, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am, I probably am. I finally found something that I think I can get through without anxiety issues coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you too.
Thank you.
And then we wanted to talk about some of the other tips. You had mentioned the sun. Why don't you talk about that?
I'm finding out that the sun, when I go outside, it's making me hot. I can't tolerate the sun at all. I was sitting in the car waiting on my sister for about 5 minutes today. And before she got back in, I was flush. I didn't feel good. I had to put an ice pack on top of my head because I had just come out of radiation. And I was putting an ice pack on my left shoulder so I could keep moving it. And we realized I had to go home because I couldn't tolerate the heat.
Right. And so you just shared this picture with me, so I just put it up of you with, is that with the ice packs? Do you have the ice packs on you in the chair?
Yes, ma'am. Both of my shoulders were hurting at that time.
Right.
I just had minor surgery on the upper part of my chest for the port, and it was hurting. And then I had the shoulder problem.
Right. And for anybody that doesn't know what a port is, because it's been brought up a few times, and I had one too. Here's my scar on this side, is that many times cancer patients will decide, or their doctors will decide for them, depends on what practice you're in, to put in what they call a port. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a placement, a place that they can then put the needle from the IV, your injections or your infusions of your chemotherapy or immunotherapy type drugs that are dripped into us in the infusion room or a chemotherapy room. They're known as both. And so this is a direct route. Instead of needing to find veins, which many times when you're going through some type of a health challenge, sometimes our even if we're not going through chemotherapy and it's just a hot day or something, our veins decide to retreat. And if that's going on and you're scheduled to be in there to receive your medicine, by golly, wherever they can find a vein, they're going to go for it. And so many people decide to go for a port. I was glad I did. My original chemo buddy chose not to. And so some practices, they do allow it to be a choice. If you have any questions in regards to that, get a hold of us here at Chemo Buddies for Life. We'll walk you through it. All right, so you chose your cancer treatment, and you now are surviving chemo, and you are in the midst of overcoming and surviving your radiation. Now, you had mentioned, and I just want to go through here and make sure that I get all of your notes that you sent over to me, because you were just so great. You were talking about how, one of the things, too, that's really important and is to understand that when we find out we have cancer, sometimes we have other things that we're dealing with, like life. It doesn't just happen that, nice little picture perfect experience of you have cancer. Let's get you scheduled and then you can just go on your merry way and dance your way through. You may be dealing with other things. And you were telling me that you're dealing with 2 rotator cuff issues, correct?
Yes.
And with that, you were talking about how when you're dealing with that, then you had your port taken out and now you're having radiation. You need to think in terms of even making your life simpler and easier, like reaching up high for something that you may need. Is that a good choice or a bad choice?
It can be a bad choice. I have 2 sisters that are helping me pretty good when my shoulder hurts. Mm-hmm. And they help me. The doctor still wants me to use both of my arms to reach up. If it hurts, just ice it down and just rest it.
Okay.
And so I'm doing both of those.
Okay. So it more of like an exercise or not letting yourself freeze up. Is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then let's see, another thing. Sometimes, so another thing. Getting help with getting dressed, having help getting dressed. Pros or cons? What do you have to say?
I think sometimes it's good to have somebody that can help you get dressed. When the port was taken out, I had troubles bending over to get my shoes and my socks on. So my younger sister would help me do that. My shirt, I needed assistance to get my shirt on because I had to lift my arm up and my shoulder would hurt. So she would do that. So I think it's good to have somebody there to help you get your clothes on when you need it.
So you decided to do this as we start bringing this to a full circle. You decided to do this because you wanted to help others, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I have to keep remembering to put my phone up here so everybody hears you. Thank you, Carol. She's saying frozen shoulder, they call it. Thank you. See, I love our Chemo Buddy for Life ambassadors and buddies because you know what they do? They show up and they participate and they help out. And that's what it's all about. We have this amazing, wonderful, great group. It's called a community of people that are like-minded. They want to be there for each other and help each other. And you decided that you wanted to help others right now by giving these tips and tricks. But you know what? I would like to hear a little bit more from your heart because I believe in truth, Helene, that the way you're going to help others is through your inspiration. You, and I've told you this a number of times, so it's nothing I haven't said, but you inspire me because you are a writer. You write nearly every night, right? And you write real things that you're thinking, but they end up being heartfelt and inspirational.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
My best friend and me were talking, and I told her I was sorry I couldn't make it to church and I wanted to do something. And she's the one that encouraged me to get on Facebook and write at night. And I started to write. And because I'm walking with God, I figured why not? I can mix my heart and my love for God together. And so that's what I started. And I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
So a couple years worth of inspirational daily, nightly thoughts, yes, writings.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The thing that I have seen in the time that I've gotten to know you, Helene, and the thing that I so appreciate, you are such a humble person in regards to yourself. However, when you start writing from this place, there is an unusual amount of, I want to say, power, inspiration, love, insight. Where is all of that coming from?
From God. I think that when I write at night, and it's the time that I have my relationship with Him, and I'm praying for everybody I either don't know or do know, that's where it comes from. And the music helps some.
And what kind of music do you like?
Well, you won't like it if I told you. Classical, gospel, jazz, some blues. I'm not really into country considering I'm from Texas, but a little bit of rap.
Really?
Yes. I'm really into that violin music, piano music, things like that.
You mentioned it, but I'm going to ask you one more time just to make sure. So, do you sing?
Yes.
Do you like singing?
Yes. And no, I'm not doing it tonight.
Okay. I was hesitating. Yes. Okay. Well, maybe because another time.
The songs that I would sing is not really, it's not the time of the year that I would sing it.
I don't know. I think I know which one you might sing, and I think that.
Would it be Silent Night?
I think it would be. I think that people would love to hear it.
Silent night, holy night, Virgin, mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That is beautiful. And anybody that is having a hard time in the evening, because many times some of our buddies, nights are particularly tough on us sometimes, wouldn't you say?
Yes, ma'am.
And
that's the hardest time for me.
The nights, right? And you're being told that was beautiful, and I agree so much, Diana. Thank you for saying that.
That's my cousin.
Oh, very nice. Hi, cousin. Nice to have you here. It was beautiful.
Yes.
So, what is it that? I mean, of course, music is wonderful. You write at night. What are some of the other things that you would suggest in your tips and tricks that you've found help you any time of the day or night?
Having a friend that will sit down and help you laugh and just cut up about the most stupidest things you could think of thinking of that you normally wouldn't say to your family members, just things that will make you laugh. Or writing it, just telling somebody, let me write this for you. And you write it on Facebook and some of your friends may comment. I draw in the evening sometimes. It seems to help.
Yes.
But the chemo buds help a lot.
Chemo buddies. So having someone to talk with, we've done a fair amount of laughing too, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Seriously, in fact, I will say that even my post today that I did in regards to something else, I actually pulled a cartoon because I was like, I had told you that, my foot had swelled up like crazy. 1 foot normal size, 1 foot because of mosquito bites. And so I thought, okay, I got to laugh about it, because if I'm not laughing, I'm going to be crying about it. And there's no use to cry about it. It's like, okay, it is what it is, what it is. So it was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and it was part of it was because we've been just cutting it up so much lately that it was like, okay, of course I'm going to do a funny cartoony thing, and so see, you inspired me this morning to take a situation that was really not so great, and turn it around and upside down and all, and say, okay, we're going to laugh about it.
Yes.
And so people are saying how beautiful the song was, it truly beautiful. And so as we start tying this together, I found a picture on your Facebook page. I believe it's probably of your siblings. It's black and white. Is it all right if I post it?
Yes.
Okay. So is this your family?
I'm waiting.
Okay.
Yes, that's all my brothers and sisters.
All your brothers and sisters. Which one are you?
I am the very far left one. On the bottom.
On the bottom.
Where do you? Tall girl, the tall girl that's standing behind the young girl in the dark hair.
Right.
That's my older sister. The other one's my older brother. That's my other sister, Sharon. That's me. That's my younger sister, Madeline. This is my younger brother, Mark.
Oh, hello, family. So you come from a large family.
Yes, ma'am.
And your father is with you still.
Our father is. Our mother's not.
Right. So we were talking about this. What do you think your mom's feeling right now?
Being in heaven? Well, she got there before my father, I guess. It's a good thing. I think she is proud that we all are getting together to help me, along with helping one of my brothers who has been sick also.
I bet you're right. I think that that's beautiful. So, is there anything that you can think of? Let's see. You know, I did write down that a few things that you had said, that you were proud of yourself, that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. Oh, that anxiety knocks on your door. You had talked about anxiety knocking on the door. What did you want to share about that?
Is that every time you have to change in something in your life, like I went from being normal one moment to having cancer, to having surgery, to starting chemo, to going through the chemo treatments, to listening to my sisters tell me I have to do radiation, having friends tell me I need to do it. I just finally decided it was time to do something. And that comfort zone, moving out away from the comfort zone, that anxiety that was there, that just kept knocking at my door. And I just knew I had to do something. So I wanted to live, so I went on ahead and just decided I would try the radiation.
And then you were saying that 3 words are pretty powerful. Do you remember what 3 words you were talking about?
I love you.
Yeah. Those are pretty powerful words, aren't they?
Yes.
And that is what you're experiencing now, right?
Yes. Not just with my sisters or my cousin or close friends, but from you, from Misty. And I would assume from Carol.
Yeah, I would assume too, because you got a full team of really loving people that are involved. And that's the thing that makes me so encouraged with what we are doing in our program at Chemo Buddies for Life. Because, for those that don't know what Chemo Buddies for Life is, we are a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 that was created because there was nothing like what we are building out there for the patient and for that person that loves and supports them. So basically, everybody that's been affected by cancer are people that we would call buddies. And it doesn't matter what type of treatment someone decides to go for. The treatment plan doesn't matter to us. We don't care if you decide to go with traditional. We don't care if you decide to go with alternative. And we don't care if you decide to go with adjunctive. What we care about is that you don't face it alone, that you have a buddy, that you become a part of a buddy's community, and that you know that you are truly loved. Because how can you love people that you just meet? I believe it's because we all come from the same race. It's called the human race. And that we all are in this thing we call life together. And we can do anything if we just put our minds, our hearts, our souls, our hands, virtual or real, together and say, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And when you do that, it's pretty incredible how you really do unconditionally care for each other. And it's a miracle in my mind. I don't question it because it's much bigger than I am, but I have witnessed it so many times now that I know that it's real. So something that Carol just said, and I love it, is we love you. And she included a lot of hearts. And it's true. We do. And so as we start to pull this together, you have a few more weeks left. That's it, right?
I have 3 more weeks left.
3 more.
I'm looking forward to getting to the end of that.
So is there a celebration already in place? Because I know you were talking about a cowbell that you actually, when you finished up chemotherapy, you wanted to ring the bell, so you brought your own cowbell with you, right?
Yes.
I love it.
They didn't have a bell to ring, so I brought a cowbell.
I love it.
And I will probably bring my cowbell on my last treatment.
Well, you know what, we'll have to have, even if you're not in the picture, but maybe have someone going live, and so we can celebrate with you with that cowbell. And so we just see the cowbell and we'll all know what that means, and we can say woohoo with you, right?
Thank you. I would appreciate that. Yes.
Okay, so it's a party. It's a virtual party. And 3 weeks and 2 days, we're going to have a cowbell party. How fun is that? Christopher Kaysen, I think he's loving it. It's like, yes, let's do it. Let's do this. Okay. And Christopher, you know, the fact that Helene likes to color, what I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to lead? And Helene, what do you think? To lead some like art type events, healing through hobbies, healing through art, and so that people can tune in and be a part of doing a project all together. And possibly Christopher, you wouldn't, you know, maybe we can take turns in different people leading, and maybe you might want to lead sometime, because he was like, yeah, I'll help out. So let's see if we can do something like that. What do you think, Helene? Would that be fun?
I think that would be great.
Yeah, I do too. So let's figure out how to do that and make that happen here sooner than later. No time like now. That's what we do. All right. So as we start to close on today, which is your Service Hero Day, Helene, I don't want to overlook how important it is that you are now a service hero.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How does that feel?
Different.
Different.
Yes.
Good different?
I think it will be in the future. I'm just trying to be a hero to myself right now, trying to get through each day.
I love that. We have to start with ourselves first, and then we can help others. And that is the best example you can give us right now. Those few words and the intention behind it was pearls of wisdom just shared with us all. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Christopher's in. He said he loves the way that sounds. I love the sound of that. Okay, let's make it happen. Yep, let's make that happen. I love it. You know, this is so much fun. I love it when we get together and we are able to collaborate and make, you know, like come up with ideas so that we are serving those people that we are dedicated. We've made our life mission, and we can all help each other together. And that's what we're doing. So thank you, Christopher. And Christopher is, for those of you that do not know, he is one of the top 25 in the Next Impactor, along with myself and Misty Lane and some of the others. Don't know that we had any others for today. For that we will be finding out on August the 30th who the first Next Impactor will be. And they will be receiving a prize package that is going to help them to take their mission and message global. And Christopher's message and mission is all about education for those adults that are affected by autism. And he's such a great example to us all. And yes, you are a hero for what you're doing for yourself and others. You are a great encourager. Beautifully said, Diana. Beautifully said. I completely agree. So as we close today, I am going to announce something I'm excited about, and I will be getting some more details to everybody here soon. I'm working on it. But we are going to be having an event, a fundraising event for Chemo Buddies for Life. And it's going to be, I put the donate today. Of course you can if you want. However, it will be an event that will be a closed group that many of the musicians and performers that have come into my life via Mikey Adam Cohen and have come into my life in other ways too. Some of them have volunteered their particular skills, and they're going to do something cool and unique and fun for our particular group for this event, so that it will be fun, and maybe even special messages. We're going to work on it, and that's more details to come, but it's scheduled here soon. We can put it together quickly, and it's going to be on July the 30th. So be looking for the list of those that will be participating and the time of day that they will be. However, with that said, you don't have to be there live, and that's the only time you can see them. If you choose to donate, you'll be able to have access into this particular group to be able to go and watch at any time. That will be the idea of it. And so it's going to be like your own private viewing. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And it's a way for us to raise awareness and funds for Chemo Buddies for Life. And so wanted to make that announcement because you kept talking about music, and I'm like, okay, I made the graphic. We'll talk about it.
Thank you for inviting me to come and talk.
You're welcome. Thank you for the idea. So as we close, day number 280 of 365 days of awesome, celebrate success through service. Helene, I want to say thank you for being such an amazing example of a true service hero, someone that is currently going through some pretty big stuff that only a few days ago wasn't sure that was going to actually go through those big things, and now has come on the other side and said, not only am I doing it because I know I need to, it's the best choice, but now I want to help others to do it too. I can share what I've learned, and I can share that they can do it too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for being as your cousin, Diana Anderson shared. You are a great encourager, Helene. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to just put up here, we do have tomorrow's show pre-planned, and it will be at 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be Pat White, who is the author of this book, and it is a character that is modeled after herself. She was a Navy sailor, a woman named Navy sailor. She wants to empower other young ladies to choose to follow their dreams too. So it should be a great show. All right. Have a wonderful evening, my dear. All right.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.